Hey, everybody, welcome to this episode of the Disc Golf Answer Man.
Hey, Disc Golf Answer guys. Thanks for taking the time to answer my question. Thank you for everything that you do for the sport. I've got something, and I'm not sure if you guys have covered it before. I only just recently started listening to your guys' podcast, but I think it's something that's important and should be discussed again if it hasn't been already. So I've been playing tournaments for about 2 years, and I find that during my regular rounds, I'm able to make concise shots and stay pretty consistent. But during tournament rounds, I seem to get into my head. I make a small mistake, and it seems to compound itself all the way through the round. And I'm wondering if you guys have any advice on what you do during a round or what I could possibly do during a tournament that would help to keep myself out of my own head and help mitigate those extra strokes due to my frustration and constant expectation of being perfect. Any advice you guys could give would be great. Thanks again for everything you do.
Awesome.
How do you, if you have a bad hole, what is your go-to thought process, or how do you get out of your own head?
Yeah. This is a really hard one because
it's not something you could just teach.
Right.
I mean, you have a couple tricks that I could tell you that I do.
Sure.
But it's really, to me, for this question, I guess for me, it's really all about staying in the moment.
Yeah.
And having a short memory.
Yep.
And let's face it. Bobby took a 7 last night on. I mean, it was a par 5, but it was still, he wasn't happy with it.
It's because I went OB.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was like, if I hadn't gone OB, I would at least have got maybe a 6 or a 5.
And he still, Bobby took a 7 on a hole last night, and he still had his best round on the course. Mm-hmm. So all that tells me is that, boom, he had a bad hole, but he was able to work through that, stay, at the shot at hand, and have a short memory and not even remember what happened. You can't control the past. All you can do is control what's in front of you and play it shot for shot.
Yep.
That's really all you can do in that situation.
I think one of the
100%.
biggest mind games or mental things that I've learned from Eric is that when your shot is done, now you say, and then when you're standing at the tee pad, you're like, okay, now this shot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then the other thing that that's drilled into me is I'm having fun on the card. Like I had Corey. Corey's obviously a good player.
Mm-hmm.
I had a couple. One guy that was probably, I can't remember. He was a little worse than I am. Mm-hmm. But some of the other guys were. They're all the others.
Kevin as well, right?
Yes, Kevin.
So you had a really good card.
Yeah, he's a good card.
They can play golf. Yeah.
I don't compete against them. Mm-hmm. I'm competing against myself.
Right.
And what's good is you play a course that you
even better. Take it to the next step is you're competing against the course. You don't want to say you're
course,
competing
that's good,
against
yeah.
yourself
Yeah.
because. I mean, you can be your own worst enemy, and that's
true,
not right.
Yeah. But I mean, I can remember. So in other words, I look at a hole and I think, okay, I know what I got on this. I know where I've thrown before, and I know what really worked. So that's what I'm going to throw. Rather than if some people are in a tournament setting, they're thinking, oh, he got a 3 and I got a 4. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, you got it. It's all a mental thing that you just got to. It takes practice, and you got to tell yourself over and over again. What's the next hole, and that's what I'm worried about.
And a lot of that actually, I witnessed it. When last night at home we were watching the Jomez coverage of Beaver State Fling of the women, and I think it was the 3rd round front 9. Val throws a shot on, I would say, my least favorite hole at Milo and parks it. It's hole 5, I believe, is the number. Downhill, weird. A lot of the guys throw forehand rollers.
Oh yeah,
but she parked it. I mean, she put it 5 feet from the pin, and Paige clips an early tree and kicks deep in the woods. And then she pitches out. And then she throws an approach. And then she lays up. She was still further out putting her 5 than Val was putting her 2. And, I mean, she just lost 3 strokes to Val on that one hole, on a under 300-foot hole. And she gave knucks. I mean, she gave props to Val and moved on to the next hole. And
that's because she's a true competitor.
Exactly. But that's what you have to, that's the mindset you have to have, you know?
And you don't want to lose 3 strokes to Val.
No.
To anybody, for that matter.
To anybody.
But
especially not Val.
Yeah, for sure.
And so a quick bias plug. If you guys haven't watched Beaver State Fling, Jomez does a really good job. And, of course, you got to watch Paige Pierce. She just
dominated.
So, somebody said something that I thought really was poignant is that, it's enjoyable to watch Ricky and Paul Macbeth and these Simon Lizotte and these big
Sure.
guns. Right? It's awesome to watch that.
Oh yeah, because they're
But-
at the top of the game.
Right, but for the average player to watch the decisions that Paige makes and Katrina makes as far as shot placement, it relates to me a lot more. And that's why I enjoy watching the women's, because when they throw, now obviously Paige and Katrina throw much farther than me, but
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It seems more relatable to me because
Yeah.
that's really closer to what I can achieve when it's the watching them. So anyway,
Absolutely. I like watching them because they are aware of their skill set and play to that skill set.
Right.
Right. Like Paige can throw farther than honestly most people.
Right.
Right. But some of the women are throwing about like a lot of people are. And you see what kind of scores they put together because they're aware of their game. That's one of the big differences
Approaches.
between a top female player and like an advanced to intermediate guy who might be throwing around the same distance, is that they know their game inside and out and they just don't make that many mistakes.
Or not throwing, or not throwing as far as some of those guys that you mentioned.
Yeah.
But the approach game, the short game.
They know where to pay attention to, yeah, for sure. So on the mental side of things for me, I had knee surgery in 2014, and before that had gotten up to 1,000 rated. And the reason that I got there was I can't throw that far. I'm a pretty good putter. I throw approach as well. But I got to where my mental game was really strong, where make a mistake, next hole, who cares? Playing well, don't let it get in my head, things like that. And then I had knee surgery on my right knee, and it was like a reset. Like I've had to relearn how to be mentally strong on the course, and it's super tough. Like that's one of the reasons I love disc golf is it's a constant mental battle. Like you can be playing great and sabotage yourself because you start thinking about too many things or the wrong things or anything like that. So after I've had a bad hole, in general, I just try to limit my thoughts on the course. So I try and narrow my focus for the 15 or 20 seconds that I take throwing each shot. And once I've thrown that shot, let my mind breathe some, think about something else. I usually have a song running through my head, let that run through a little bit. I don't think about where the shot landed. I don't think about the implications of that. I just walk up, and then when I'm ready to throw, then I narrow my focus again. So say I take a bogey, I walk on to the next tee, and then I think the exact same thing that I've thought on all the tee shots before, which is just what's my target. That's the only thought that's in my head. And then I execute. Well,
Awesome.
or at least try to execute.
Yeah.